Okay, so here I am in Pritchett, Colorado at the Radon Clinic. There is the mud pack, and this is the reason I'm here, to learn more about radiation therapy. Here's our cute little room in the revamped brothel here in Pritchett, and that's Jane's bed. Jane only sleeps about 4 hours a night. So what she's been reading, because she's going to be writing a book about this, is a book called Underexposed. What if radiation is actually good for you? So here we go, and this is what they slipped under our door last night. We're having a party, and this is a little bit of chocolate. I don't know if Jane will eat that. She's very picky about her diet. And it talks about the Natural Sources Wellness Center, which is what this is going to be. So I will keep you posted. So here I am with Jay Gutierrez in Colorado, in Pritchett, Colorado. And I'm going to be asking Jay just about the place. And how, first of all, you said you don't want people to go to Mexico.
No, I'm getting tired of it. They spend so much money. And they're coming back, and they're not, a lot of them are not getting better. So I know we can do a better job here. It doesn't have to cost them that much money. I mean, look, we already proved radiation hormesis works. That's a no-brainer. It's winning, it's successful, that's what's working. But what it is that people are going and they're spending so much money, and they're not getting better. So,
and you thought to keep them stateside in a beautiful place like this, which you've worked hard to
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
No, see, this is a good test case scenario for this, because if you were to put this like in a big city and try it, you're running all kinds of problems and stuff. But if we come out here and we use this and we set the protocol up with the radiation baths and everything, and we got the support from the locals, the government, everybody out here.
I love that, the support.
Then and we got everything we need here. We got doctors all over the place out here. We get this set up, and we can prove that we can do a better job, and it is working, and it works here in this controlled environment. Instead of spending so much money, that we can make it work for people here. Monitor them when they're going through that first like die-off phase.
When the fungus
when
sloughs off into the
when
lymph
it's dying and dropping mycotoxins.
Right.
And if we can monitor them there with their diet and make sure they're taken care of and they're not overwhelmed.
And that's kind of the idea here. You're going to be cooking for people and just sort of taking care of them.
We're going to check with their diet. We're going to do colon therapy. We're going to do reflexology, foot baths. They got all kinds of things.
Now, I was saying, because you've had so many experience, how many people have you treated? Because I know you're a medicine man and you're allowed to do this. The AMA can't come after you. They can't take away a license that they never gave you.
Yeah. No,
But how many people have been helped by your
By now, I've probably worked with about 1,800.
About 1,800? So, since you've seen a lot of these people, what do you envision the average stay is going to be here at the Mineral Palace? 10 days.
10 days. We're going to start out with 10 days and see how that works.
And what's it going to cost to an average person who's already paying hundreds of dollars a month just for insurance?
Yeah, to feed them and house them and work with them and monitor them and give them body scans, blood work, $4,000.
$4,000? And then they'll be over at the other facility for the radon baths?
That's included with everything.
Including everything. And what do you expect? Like, what's your typical patient that's going to come in, take a risk to spend $4,000? Because, you know, none of the insurance company's going to pay for it, right?
No.
But on the other hand...
But yet they're willing to go down to Mexico and spend $10,000 to $80,000.
In Mexico.
Yeah, when we can do a better job here in this country.
And also, while you're doing it, you're supporting the local economy in America. You've got the mayor on your side. We've got a state representative coming down, right?
He's going to cook for us today.
So we're going to have like not an underground economy, but this is all going to be overground. People will...
Yeah, well, people need to know. That's why we're doing this, so people understand and they're not scared. I talked to a lady yesterday. I said the word radiation. She jumped back.
Right.
You know, and I'm thinking, well, it's because we're such sheep. You say radiation, people get scared.
Well, Jane Goldberg over there working on the internet with Nuya, and her new husband now, Paul. Jane is working on a book, and the book is going to be called "Because People Are Dying."
I like
and if
it's your phrase, you should like it.
I know, I like it.
Can you talk about the opening sentence that you got today?
Do you want to hear the first paragraph, Jay?
Yes.
I wrote it at 5 o'clock this morning.
Outstanding.
We're going
The
to hear
first
that.
chapter title is Karma's Pit Stop in Nature.
Excuse me.
And it just refers to the fact that this is very far away. Here we've got someone coming
Hi,
in.
Jane.
How you doing?
Well, I thought I'd drive down, see what you guys are up to.
All strange faces. We're all new,
We're all new?
except for him.
And
Well, I'm not new.
And you.
I just come with the
And him.
woodwork.
What do you think? We redid this place.
Well, I don't know. Everything's...
How did you happen to come here to Pritchett, Colorado? Because it's really out of the way, and we were commenting as New Yorkers how far out of the way it is. What brings you here?
Well, my practitioner is Mark Morrison and Fowler, and through him I learned about Jay Nighthawk, or Blackhawk. I think it's Nighthawk.
Right.
And so I went to one of his seminars. And
Come this way.
then I came to Pritchet to visit Bev's clinic because I needed a blood test. And I saw him again, and he was kind to me, and he offered me a rock, and I've been applying that rock for 75 days now. And so we're down here to take another blood test today to use as a marker to see where the PSA is at this point in time. And that's why I'm here today.
So you haven't taken any chemo or radiation or surgery?
No, I won't let the doctors touch me.
Was this always your predilection, you know, your
Yes.
tendency?
Yes.
I see. Were you brought up with natural
Not
medicine?
entirely. Ever since the VA got a hold of me, I decided I need to go another route.
Really?
And so this is why I'm here, basically.
Are you a veteran of
Yes.
which war?
None.
None? But they take care of you because you were in the
Yes.
Army. That's great. Any comments, Jay, about his case?
No, he was interested. You know what I like about him? Very skeptical. Very skeptical. I like this. The people that are really skeptical, and then they start working with it. And see, so you got to, you know, they say, well, they're not going to do that because they're very skeptical.
Yeah, but he's skeptical to stay out of the system that would probably...
He's smart to stay out of the system
Right.
that's going to hurt him.
So we would expect to find skeptical people.
Oh yeah, well no, and they're my favorite.
Yeah.
Absolutely my favorite. I mean, you'll meet some people.
Because the technology of the stones either works or it doesn't work. It speaks for itself. They
Right.
don't have to be believers.
No,
It works independent of belief system.
you're going to meet a cowboy today. This is going to be incredible for you. Old Billy, you'll like this. I mean, he couldn't
Thank
see.
you.
He felt terrible. He was losing the sight in his eyes. Well, you meet him today. Let him tell you. This guy comes up to Denver because they go to the state capitol a lot. Comes up to Denver. He'll pick up like every 2 weeks like 10 kits and necklaces to get out to people to get them to feel better. I mean, wait till you see him. He's quite a story. He's one of my favorites.
What's that opening paragraph where people
I
are dying?
decided to save it.
You're going to save it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm saving it for Jay because it's not so pertinent to what Jay wants to know about,
Okay.
which is what he's doing. It's about our trip last night, 4 hours in the car.
Really?
4 endless hours in the car.
But now we have you out here in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
But you see, you understand his logic that you want to be in an out-of-the-way place just to get the work done.
Absolutely.
And then people like you will come along and swoop up and document it.
And you.
Yeah, right, and me on the yeah, right, and me there on the mirror. Here I am. What about the fact that there's been 3,000 studies done and people hardly know about that? How can we work in New York to get that word out with Concordia?
I think the book will help with that, and I think the tapes will help. And Paula Gloria and Jane Goldberg are doing a documentary, and I think that will help.
Yeah.
And Jay operates mostly by word of mouth, and that's probably really the strongest.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Medical doctors send me people every day. Do you know I get about, on the average, 5 cancer patients a day?
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah.
And all word of mouth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's working.
And then they talk and then they talk, and it's logarithmic. It just builds logarithmically.
Oh yeah, and then so what I do is like someone will say, when you coming out into this area, when you come into Oklahoma, let's say, because I was just there last weekend. Well, if you can put together a group of people, I'll come out there, I won't charge you a thing, I just come out. And if we educate them, see, then you get those little pods all around the country, like, you know, we're Hawaii, New York, Phoenix, wherever, then all these people start talking to each other. So in other words, it's a great thing, like, you hear old Uncle Ed's got colon cancer. Well, I know what to do. You know, isn't that great?
But you, sir, what was your name again?
Larry Warner.
Larry Warner. You are just working with a number, right, on a PSA test. You don't have anything else that we could show and.
Nothing has been diagnosed yet.
Right. Right. So he's not your typical person that would come here and plunk out 4,000. I would imagine that would be somebody with bloody, drippy, smelly cancer, right?
Oh, I got to talk to you about that.
I've heard of that case. You know, Maxine Murray had a lady who overnight had a rock sent out by you, and overnight it went away.
Oh,
and within 5 days, pink skin was healing over the 6 oozing sores.
Oh, you remember? Do you remember?
And I wish I had that on video. You know.
Do you remember? When we were just in New York, Obib. Do you know Obib?
No.
Jane, you know Obib, don't you?
I just met Jane through you, actually.
Who's Obib?
She was a lady that was at your spa. Beautiful lady that stood up, had that lesion on her stomach.
Oh,
it wouldn't
we
heal.
we want to interview her. So, do you know how to contact her?
She just sent me a book. I'll have to find out how. I mean, she made a little book to send me, but she couldn't heal in 20 years.
Right.
She's tried everything.
Right.
I know. Does she have a video of it or a picture of it? Wait, from now on, as soon as someone calls you, tell them to take a photo at least.
Well, she sat there at your place, went up there and lifted up her files and look at this.
Yeah, completely.
Can you explain that,
closed.
Jane? Because you're a good storyteller.
Well, I think it regenerated skin tissue.
It wasn't healing, right?
I think she said 17 years. It was open, pussy, oozing, and couldn't get it to close. And within a fairly short period of time,
3 weeks. I was gone 3 weeks.
3 weeks, the stones completely closed it.
It was incredible.
And I saw, when she lifted it, I saw just a little red scar tissue, you know, completely, just, you know, new skin.
She was excited about that. She stood up and says, "Hey, everybody, I want you to know this."
Yeah, we need to get her on this tape. Listen, I did find something I want to read.
Okay.
Despite the fact that, this is going in the book, despite the fact that Americans pay $7,600 a year per person for health care, 16% of the GDP, gross national product, it produces remarkably poor results. We actually rank last out of 19 countries for unnecessary deaths, despite the vastly increased use of a wide variety of wonder drugs and vaccines. And of course I am saying that with a certain irony. Why? Because Americans have been brainwashed into thinking that prescription drugs and modern medicine cures disease, which it absolutely does not. So fatalities, this is an amazing statistic. Fatalities now account for 23% of all deaths in this country.
Fatalities?
I'm sorry. 23% of all reported adverse effects of prescription drugs.
Right.
Fatalities now account for 23% of all reported adverse effects of prescription drugs.
That's incredible.
No,
Right.
it's a really high number.
Right.
I know that. But now, Jane, I don't think you're inclined to be in this neck of the woods that often in the future. How do you think they can work with people down here who do have the mental component that you work with?
Well, I think the people that are going to come here are the people that are in very serious shape and would go somewhere else, like you're saying to the clinics in Mexico, or even...
And what's happening is people are getting scared, you know? They're finding, okay, I got cancer, and I've already seen some of my relatives pass away in a very, losing all their dignity, I mean, and just terrible deaths. And they don't want to do that, so they're scared, but they're looking for other options. And that brings in a problem, though, because there's so many options out there. A lot of people are making money off these people's hurt, and it's not doing them any good.
But the beauty of Jay's system that he's developed so far is that even years before he started this place that we're at right now, you know, it's a phone call. It's a $3, 5-minute phone call to Jay, and they explain what the medical problem is. He decides exactly what stones they need. They may be for maintenance, you know, of health, like I'm perfectly healthy. I spend $210 on a kit, and then I do it at home. Most of the people that Jay...
What do you do at home exactly with that kit?
I drink hormesis water. See, there's a little stone in the bottom of my water bottle that I carry with me everywhere I go, and I also have it at home in a glass container.
Maxine indicated that I OD'd on it. I got a little nauseous on that, so I pulled back.
You do that
She
at
said,
first, yeah, until you get acclimated to it.
Yeah. And then, so who do you imagine will be here? Because Larry, you said your name was? He's not in very bad shape.
No,
you may not be in. You may be fine.
Yeah,
But we want to talk.
No, so what'll happen here is a lot of these people I can take care of on the phone. Okay, a lot of them are in pretty serious shape though, and it gets harder to work with them on the phone long distance. You know.
And also, they need nutritional support.
You bet. They need all kinds, and they need like lymph drainage.
Yeah.
You know, when you're dropping so many mycotoxins,
Yeah.
say their feet start swelling. I need people to work with them on detox. See, that's where detox comes in important. No, everybody's on a detox, but you keep detoxing, like I said, until you're blue in the face, because if you don't kill what's making the poison, fine. But if you drop, there's a lot of poisons, right? And we need to get out of your system.
What about the psychological support, Jane? Because when people have really terrible cancer, there's a lot of drama going on in the family. Would 10 days away from that be good?
Well, 10 days of people reassuring you that what the organic and biochemical physiological processes that are happening that feel painful or uncomfortable or really scary, the medical staff here will understand that you're going through a healing crisis, you're going through a detox, you know, it's going to last 2 days. The symptoms that you're having that look like you're getting worse, you're not really getting worse. You're just stimulating the activation of the toxins that have been stored more or less successfully. Different tissues and cells in your body now are being released, and now the job is to carry them out of the body. And this place is going to have the ability to do that. But you know, you don't need to be here. It would be wonderful to be here, but you can do it in New York City. There are places, there are healing centers that understand detox.
But you're a psychoanalyst, and you have a lot of patients in your practice.
Fear,
so they need also
fear creates acidity, and cancer only grows in an acid environment.
Right.
So we alkalize the body through all kinds of ways, by drinking alkaline water and by eating alkaline foods, vegetables, but also reducing the intensity of fear, which most cancer patients have.
Now, speaking of fear, people love their medical doctors. How many medical doctors are in this part of Colorado, and they're supportive of what you're doing?
In this part of Colorado, there are very few, maybe only 2 or 3. But yeah, but see, the thing is,
that strikes me as a lot.
For this, I know, because this town is less than 100.
Yeah, they're probably, in this part of Colorado, they're probably only 6 MDs to begin with.
yeah.
So you got half of them.
Yeah, and they know what I do. But I mean, you know, it's like Mark. You know, Mark sends me a lot of people. We had a good story the other day.
Mark's an MD who lives where?
No, he's an ND.
Oh, an MD. What about the MDs? Because you were saying that yesterday.
MDs are great, see, but they can't practice this. So what they do is they have their people just call me. In other words, I could give them the stuff and they could work with people, but they can't legally do it.
Right.
So what they do is they just send them to me.
Well, I'm going to have this looked at by a lawyer who's really active in civil rights, but Maxine Murray told me they're doctors who have benefited personally in their own life, either themselves getting rid of cancer or close people in their family, and they will not go back to prescribing chemo and radiation because the AMA won't let them. They find another profession.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to get these people on my show too, but I think they need to be protected.
Do you know what's
They
really?
should be allowed to continue practicing and bring into their repertoire.
See, they quit being doctors when they stopped searching for other things and just kept going by protocol, you know?
But they're obliged to legally. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We have to help them on that too.
Yeah. I mean, they need that tour like, we know you've got a problem. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and I've heard of something else, and they need to go ahead. Well, a doctor will go ahead and research it and work with it, you know. These guys are scared. They won't do it because they're afraid they're going to lose their license or get in trouble. So they're afraid to step out of that box, even though they know something's going to work. Like I've worked with doctors Cancer know what I do works, but they're afraid to do it themselves because they're
How
just...
can we help these people, Jane, with your book and so on? Because that's a very real fear that these guys have. They're not paranoid. Licenses do get taken away. How can we help?
It is way too big.
You think
for
so?
me. Yeah, I think.
I know. Here's what you do. It's like I told the lady. She says, I was in Branson, Missouri. We're speaking at a medical convention. I get down, the one lady's so excited. She says, Jay, now you've got them. You can go after the AMA and the FDA. I says, oh, hold on a second. Why would you bring that on yourself? Here's what we do is exactly what we're doing here. We go out there and we heal as many people as we can. We educate as many people as we can. We get the ball rolling so big that they can't stop it. That's about where it is now. See, so then now people getting better, they're going in. That lady called me a couple of days ago. Says, hey, listen, I just wanted to call you. Ready for this? 2 of my people that used to be my patients that weren't with me anymore left and they worked with you. They got better. So I'm calling you and I've got problems. Can you help me out? See, it's always the doctor's got to help out first and then their patients. But see, 2 of her patients left her, got better, and came back and told her how they did it. You know. So, but we get the ball rolling. So big, can't stop them. Like I told you, so far I've probably worked with over the last few years, even just the last few years, just over 1,800 people. I mean, actually probably way more than that.
So Larry, what are you thinking about this? I know your case is not very dramatic, but can you comprehend that there have been dramatic cases and doctors are really in a bind? Medical doctors?
Well, let's talk about dramatics. You say that my case is not very dramatic right now, but with the PSA reading that I have, it is an alarm for any urologist, and the fact that I took it upon myself to take Jay's treatment, take his advice, and treat myself, I consider it preventative maintenance. And
but are you hinting that the urologist isn't happy with your decision?
Absolutely.
He's not happy.
No.
Okay, that's what I meant about Jane's
Okay.
book and so on. We need to create a type of think tank to take the responsibility to analyze studies that are trusted, so-called trusted, medical institutions are not using. There's 3,000 studies on this from the 20s, and they're not using it. Your urologist hasn't been apprised of this, and psychologically there's a great momentum against him being apprised of it. He doesn't want to be called crazy or irresponsible, and there's a kind of a mindset that I feel we're responsible for. People like us who know. So I don't think it's just healing people, but it's also empowering people that after they've been healed, not to be shy about it.
It's education.
It's education.
Well, we're certainly not being shy about it. We are going to, when I began applying this stone on my body personally, I began a journal on what I was doing. And I've kept a journal from the very start. And I will keep the journal going to show what actually the stone did, what actually the water that I'm drinking actually did to reduce the PSA, if it will. And so I'll have documentation on my own body.
I see. What do you know, Jane, about such documentation being accepted by the medical institutions? Will they marginalize it because he's not been approved as an official researcher?
Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to...
How Jay was talking about putting the hot stone in a pot and boiling the water, and then you get the steam just like you used to do a eucalyptus inhale for your sinuses. You can use it that way as well. You use it 5 minutes 3 times a day.
Would that help inflammation?
Well, actually it does. How we first learned about that was this man from, am I going to say this right? Well, anyhow, from South America, I'll say the continent, from South America, who was a golf pro. And he was needing to help his knee. and a Japanese scientist told him to put a strong rock into water, boil the water, and then put a towel over his head and inhale that. And you know, he never had to have a knee replacement because of that. So that's why I say, yes, it will heal inflammation, but you can use multiple other things. You asked me about the bath, but I'm going to stand up for a minute. Feel this. I have a mud pack back here.
Okay, I have
wear
one.
that for inflammation on my back.
Okay.
It helps inflammation.
It's awesome. And in my scarf, I will show you, I also...
Because you traveled 16 hours yesterday,
Yeah.
and you've been under a lot of stress to get this together.
You know, my chiropractor used to tell me that I wasn't doing my neck exercises, but I was doing them. And I realized I had inflammation in my neck. So this is what Jim Biggs does. This is a water stone. And I put the water stone into my scarf, and you can see how I twisted it. I'm using that for inflammation in my neck.
Right.
It's awesome. It's really working. I can tell when I go to the gym and do my neck rolls and things like that, my hands have been swelling. And so that's why I knew I needed to do something as a body worker. I needed to bring my hands around. So when I wear this around my neck, my hands are fine. So does that help you?
Yes, I think so. What is the digital reading on that particular rock?
Usually about
Do you know?
6 or 10, isn't it?
You know, I can't tell you. I don't really know.
And do you know, along those lines, if you may not know this, but can that rock be put into a bathtub and after so many hours irradiate the bathtub water? Because that's what I've been doing. And
Yes. Now,
is it my imagination or placebo?
you're on the right track. The thing is, the only thing I would add to that is that I would use a hot stone because it's a little bit stronger. The more water you use, this is good for up to about 3 or 4 gallons from what I understand.
So I need a bigger stone
would
or
be
a hotter stone?
hotter or more stones.
More stones.
Or more.
I see.
Yes, because that way you will influence or irradiate larger amounts of water.
Okay, what I'm trying to do is get a protocol for city people so they can put it in their bathtub, cover it up like a swimming pool cover with
That's
plastic
awesome.
bags. And what I've been doing is putting super hot water in, putting the stone in, covering it up, and coming back 4 hours later, it's still hot.
The
Warm, it's warm by then.
The only thing I would say to you is maybe use more rocks,
Yeah.
because Bev has a bath, which I haven't seen yet, for 8 people, so she will have a lot of rocks in there. I haven't seen the pile of them either, but of course that will probably be a little stronger than what you and I would use in a bathtub.
Sometimes less is more, and Maxine Murray,
Well,
who dealt...
you have a good
remember
point.
you gave me that
You
press,
have a very good point.
Remember you gave me that press kit about the lady with the really bloody,
Yes.
drippy, horrible cancer that
Yes,
healed
yes,
almost
yes.
overnight? I called her up, I did a show, and she told me that I was probably ODing a little bit, overdosing. So
I
she
love
told
what
me,
you're saying.
yeah, so she told me to cut back on drinking the hormesis water or
Okay.
sip it more throughout the day.
Oh, wow,
But
that's
I
great.
felt that being in the bathtub with it helped me. So, I'll experiment with it.
It's
for
another
sure.
option, and I like what you're saying. Where you take in the inhalation of the radon
In the
steam.
bathwater,
the-
yeah.
No, in the steam where you're holding your head over it. That is really only for very difficult situations.
Of inflammation or?
Well, no, not just inflammation. In this case, the man was using it to rebuild his bones. Because
I want to distinguish between inflammation and degeneration because they're
Yes,
really
thank you.
they're
Thank you.
opposite at the opposite ends of the spectrum. So inflammation is when the immune system has recognized that there's a pathogen and responded to it by
Swelling and blood
swelling,
going there.
redness, yes, pain. And so that's a good sign because that means the immune system is working.
Right.
that make sense?
With cancer is when there is no inflammatory response is one of the defense mechanisms of the body. Isolation is one of the defense mechanisms of the body. So when we have a cancer tumor, it's a collection of toxins that have collected in that one spot. It's a life-saving mechanism. It's not a death mechanism. It's a
Right.
life-saving mechanism. And the problem with radiation treatment, chemotherapy, is that, yes, it's the fastest way to reduce a tumor, but all of those toxins that have been encapsulated in that tumor as the life-saving mechanism are then released into the body and you become systemically toxic. So
So this is why when you hear the word cancer, you don't run the other way, but you say, what?
Yeah, I say, hallelujah, let's get some work done here, because you can't have cancer if any of these defense mechanisms of the body are working.
Right.
So if isolation has failed and it's metastasizing, if inflammation has failed because there is no inflammatory response, and there's a study in Germany, Rudolf Steiner was into his anthroposophical medicine, and they did some research, and they found that adult cancer patients do not have a history of febrile diseases in childhood.
What's a febrile disease?
Febrile means fever.
Oh.
So if you don't get the measles, the mumps, and the things that give you fever in childhood, your immune system never learns to respond to pathogens. And so you don't get cancer unless the immune system's been inactivated, sleeping on the job. There is no inflammatory response. And then what sets in is a chronic degenerative disease, and so it's a downward slope. See, in inflammation, there's the pathogen, the immune system recognizes the pathogen, there's a big hullabaloo, and we have fever, and we feel horrible, and maybe we throw up, and we're going to the toilet all the time, and then it's over. It resolves itself.
I'd like to add to that something, though, because what you're talking about is inflammation as a response to the body healing itself. What I was referring to is more chronic inflammation.
Okay, chronic inflammation is part of the degenerative process.
That's why
chronic inflammation is not an
inflammation.
Yes, I thank you, Carol.
Yes,
I agree with
because
that.
that's the inflammation that I was addressing. In this, I'm not meaning to counter you, but I'm just adding a piece to it.
The inflammatory response is a peak. It's a high peak. And then it and that's when you feel terrible and you feel like you're dying. That's how you feel when you get the flu and you have 103 fever, and then it goes down, and then you're better, healthier, and stronger because you've built up antibodies to that particular pathogen. But
my concern with my situation is that it is moving towards a degenerative situation because it's chronic.
Yes.
And I want to stop that chronic degeneration that's happening in my back and my neck, and
so osteoporosis is chronic degeneration. Cancer is degenerative and chronic. Usually comes out of chronic inflammation.
And
so there's always
autoimmune kind of situation.
Yes.
Autoimmune conditions.
But now, what about on a practical level? What Larry brought up. I know. That's why I wanted to catch you up on that. Before Carol came, what Larry said was by using the hormesis rocks, he had inflammation, which he felt came from the hormesis rocks. And so in order to have a pleasant day today, because it's an important day, he took your standard medicine to reduce inflammation. That's when Jane came over to say, maybe not to do that. So what about for today? What can he do today?
Well, I'm kind of bossy and judgmental, and I don't like seeing when people make decisions that go against what is good for the body. I'm always in favor, even though I'm actually a psychoanalyst, so my work is to work with the mind, but I'm always in favor of supporting the body. And so I would have rather see you in more discomfort and still come.
But she said she used this for discomfort. What Carol said is that pack is helping discomfort for her chronic inflammation.
If he had continued it, it would have resolved itself. Without taking the medication to suppress the immune response, it would have resolved itself. He just would have had some discomfort.
I'm kind of in both your boats. Sometimes I feel that the mud pack aggravates symptoms that I can't afford to have that particular time. But on the other hand, I'm fascinated with what Carol's doing by
well, I have to.
But you're deciding that you're the boss instead of your body being the boss when you make that decision.
I have to be. What is your name, Ken?
Larry.
Larry. I have to be somewhat in Larry's camp to say there are occasions if I have to go out and I'm flying somewhere that I may take a leave. I don't want to. I lived on a leave for a year and a half. I looked like a little old lady 3.5 years ago. I could not do anything. I couldn't walk before I came upon Jay's mud pack and the stones. So I understand what you're doing. I avoid it at all costs now. I would do anything to not have to do it. So I'm attempting to give you perhaps some tools that might help you, and maybe you can move through that inflammation. I don't know where your inflammation is. We'd have to talk about the specifics, and I don't know if we want to really do that at this moment.
I see you're taking
one other factor too that you want to realize that I'm a newcomer on the scene.
You're a newbie.
And I've been on this application for
75 days, right?
75 days, and I have no one to discuss these factors with.
You can call Jay.
With the exception of you people right now. So this is my first
You're
encounter
great. This
with.
is fun.
This is my first encounter with an inflammation caused by the stone.
But it's such a good sign.
Yeah, I'm not alarmed at all by it. I just wanted to have one good day without inflammation or fatigue. And this is my day. I'm going to enjoy the barbecue and the seminar. And tomorrow will be, I will take the advice that you have given. And
Now, just for both of you to know, we started this off. He was saying that he wanted to not vex the VA, who is known to keep records on people and might cut people off. But he also was bold to say he didn't care, even though you do have pills from them, and even though today you used one, right?
that's correct.
And I might do the same thing, to be honest with you.
What's that? You're not in you with the VA?
No, I'm just on my own. I may occasionally, I do occasionally take an elite. Maybe it's only, honestly, it's probably now twice a year or something like that.
From
But
once a day? That's good. You can give her
twice a
blessing.
day.
Twice a day.
For a year and a half. I lived on them.
Wow. Okay. Any final comments? Anyone?
Well, I just want to refer to a woman that was diagnosed, that we had at my day spa, La Casa Day Spa in New York. She's been using the pulse magnetic, which is another technology that I'm very interested in. She was diagnosed with ALS. She was paralyzed.
What's ALS? Oh,
Lou Gehrig's disease. She was paralyzed from here down. She's now a naturopathic doctor.
That's exciting.
And she's walking and practicing medicine and is
helping people.
Yeah, is totally fine.
That's exciting.
Well, thank you. Here's Jane. You had a nice run here in Pritchett, Colorado.
I had a nice run with no human beings in sight, only 2 dogs, and vast, expansive sky.
So what do you think? Are you kind of loosening up about vast expanse? That it might not be such a bad idea?
I don't know. I think I'll be happy to get back to New York.
Turn
left where that truck is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then go another block.
Yep. Right side on the right hand side, then our new building's back behind it.
I'll look for your car. How are you?
Are you Dr. Bev?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. And you're going to be...
Look at this.
It's to make it festive. I'm Paula Gloria.
Hi, how
Nice
are
to
you,
meet
Paula?
you. I'm going to videotape.
Hi. Hi. George, I know.
Yeah.
Are you Georg from Germany?
I'm Georg from Germany.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And what brought you here? Because that's a long way to go. We thought we came a long way from New York.
Helping people.
And do you do any radiation
being connected
hormesis
with
in Germany?
the stone. You know, I learned about it here, so I don't know about what they do in Germany. I know they had the bath. Of course, with Jay's stone now, it's nice that you can have the therapy with you rather than.
But I think some of the theory was that the hot springs, it wasn't the minerals in the waters that had the curative effect, but it was that the waters were running in radioactive environments with stones, right?
Well, that's what the part of the research is showing. So I'm sure there's an effect of all the different elements that go into the water.
How long have you been in the U.S.?
I've been here for, now? Since 78.
Oh, a long time.
Yes.
Where do you live usually?
I'm an almost native, I'd say.
Where do you live?
Where I live? In Arizona.
Oh, in Arizona. So
yes,
you came up
near
from
Sedona.
Ah, near Sedona, yeah.
Yes.
Right. I know Nuya came from Denmark, but she didn't really come for this. I'm hoping she's going to be my dream webmaster. Oh, look at that dreamy face. And I guess there's Paul there, who's been to Kashmir. We're going back, okay?
I would like a card from you.
Okay.
If I ever make it to Sedona or Phoenix.
Yes,
yeah.
Jane's a great traveler. She loves going in these expansive places and getting out of New York.
I love this. This is great.
I know. Her daughter would approve.
So now I could say more, what
Fashionista.
brought us here today, but
Oh, you want to say?
I'm focusing, I think, what would be important to people, you know, to know. So I'm doing all kinds of activities surrounding that, just like you. Like
To publicize it.
photography and
Right.
you know, do writing and all that sort of thing. What was your name?
Paula.
Paula.
Gloria.
Okay.
You don't happen
Great.
to have a fire wire, do you?
Do you have a fire?
You know, and he swelled up in his throat when he told about, well, all I'm doing is just passing the word along, you know, and when he hears back the phone calls and letters and everything, you know, how people's better, I feel so good. I feel like I've even been healed, you know. Well, that's what keeps him going. That's what it's all about. He's doing a very good job. I'm proud of him.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I can tell you how I started. I mean, where would we like to start with this?
Where you started?
Okay. Do you want me to go back as far as my childhood? I mean, how far do you want me to go back?
How you got involved in holistic health?
Okay, well, then I have to go back to my childhood. My grandmother was a medicine woman for a tribe out of Nebraska. My mother was a natural healer, and so I was raised with it, and I turned away from it during my young adult years, but I raised my children the same way. I raised them with the natural herbs and everything else. My children did not go to the doctor unless it was something I couldn't handle. And as a child, I didn't go to the doctor. I mean, my grandmother dug up roots and berries and things like that and healed us with that. So I was raised that way, and I taught at Otero Junior College, which is a local junior college here in Colorado, for 28 years, and I taught nutrition, and that was my master's. My PhD, I went back for natural health, and then I also got my naturopathic degree in Clayton College out of Birmingham, Alabama, and that wasn't enough for me. I had to go back. And so then I went to Ontario, Canada, University of Ontario, and received my Doctor of Natural Medicine degree. And in between those two, I am certified in Reiki, aromatherapy, massage, iridology, all the things that I really felt would make a whole package.
Did you study iridology with Bernard Jensen?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And because it was so, that was the only place you could get it at the time.
Right.
And now you can pick it up about anywhere.
Right. He cured my mother of terminal cancer.
With his iridology? Yeah.
It was
And
amazing. We walked in, he didn't even know our names. He knew nothing about us. He looked at my mother's eyes and he said, I see that you had a mastectomy on your left side, and proceeded to enumerate all of the health issues that we knew and all of the health issues that we didn't know. And this was the first moment that he had ever met us. He knew nothing about our medical history other than what her eyes were showing him.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful way
Yeah.
to...
Good diagnostic tool.
Yes, it is. And I have a camera. I have an iridology camera that I take pictures of and then go through it. And, I do quick ones, but then the ones that I do that are in depth, do bring out all the things. I met Jay, I opened my business here. We moved down here. My husband was transferred to Baca County, and this is where his home is. He was born and raised here, and they own a large ranch out west of town here, about 15 miles. And so he wanted to come home. And so, what can I do in Baca County? So I thought, the calling was so great. I needed to go back to my roots. So I did. And I opened my first shop up on Randolph. And I was there for about, a year. And then I bought this house, and I've been here now for about 4 years. And my dream was always to open a big spa. I mean, that was my dream. My husband was bit by a rattlesnake in June 7th. And I had heard of Jay. And so I contacted Jay, and Jay said, well, we've done it with spider bites. Let's see what we can do with rattlesnake bites. And so we used the rock along with the foot bath and a concoction that I mixed up from my grandmother's herbal book that I inherited from her. And he never did go in and take an antivenom shot. And he's still alive. Alive and well. Probably more so than everybody wants to know. So, you know, things can be done that way. I had a meeting here in Pritchett of, there was about 50 to 60 people in here that Jay was at, and I met Jay and Faye, and which are wonderful people. And they really, Jay and I and Faye and John just clicked. We just clicked. And I told Jay, I called him on the phone in August and I said, Jay, have I got an idea? What do you think? And come to find out it was Jay's dream. Jay's dream and my dream were very, very similar. So I said, you know what? I have the place, we can do it. And he said, okay. And he loved Pritchett. It was a very, I mean, when I met Jay, he was driving down the street. And I go, oh, that has to be Jay. And it was. And I just stopped him and I said, are you lost? And he said, I don't know. And I said, are you going to a meeting? And he said, yeah, I'm the speaker. I said, oh, well, follow me. I know where you're going. And so we set him up there. And so that's the way that it all started. And we started our building over here. I received my building October 22nd. They laid the cement the same day. I had to wait a week for the cement to cure. The man, I mean, this has been a blessing. The man put my building up in less than a week. The construction people came on November 3rd. And right now, when you guys go over there, it is fully, it has 2 rooms left to be sheetrocked. And that's it. My brother is the construction company that put it together. And if we'd have had another week, we'd have been over there and in and open. But we were 1 week shy, but they've done a wonderful job up until this point. I'm looking really forward.
What are you going to have there? Or should we wait till we take a tour?
Oh, no. I can tell you. I'll have a room for colonics. I'll have a...
So let's just mention the value of colonics. I have a day spa in Manhattan, and I'd say probably about 70% of our business is colonics. So we're firm believers in colonics. And Jay's theory about why this part of the world, I think he said it's the 4th largest place for cancer in the U.S. His theory is that it's the fungus from all of the feed, from the, that they're feeding the cows.
You have to understand that up above us by Pueblo, Colorado Springs, up through there, there's lots of farming.
Right.
They use herbicides, pesticides, everything. Yeah. We're at the bottom, and water flows downhill.
And what about the winds? Where?
The winds, I'm not so worried about the winds, but it's the water. And it's pesticides, herbicides come in here and sit in our aquifers. Yeah. Plus Trinidad used to have coal mines. And they used to use some really harsh chemicals to get the coal out. So that would also, settle in our water. Most of my patients that come with immune disorders come from the Campo Vilas area, and that is the Lakota aquifer, and they have a lot of real high carcinogenics in there.
But in terms of the colonics, I think because this is beef territory, people are eating a lot of meat. I mean, just based on the menu of the cafe, the one cafe in town. I mean, there's nothing on that menu that I could eat. So I think people have to be seriously constipated in this part of the world. And I think that that's contributing to the high cancer rate also.
It is. I think there's a lot of things that contribute to it. Stress. Stress is a big factor in any kind of a disorder. And you have to realize that 2 years ago, we had 20-foot snowdrifts.
Wow.
I mean, this building was completely covered with snow.
Wow.
And
stressful.
The emotional stress, and in fact, one of my clients had breast cancer after the snowstorm, a very aggressive breast cancer, because it's a very stressful. It's a stressful life living out in the plains. I mean, for some. Out here where we're at now, we have clean air. We have filtered water.
You have to admit we have clean air, Jane.
Yes, you have to admit, this is clean air here.
And how are you filtering your water? You mean you're filtering it in each individual home?
Right. We have, it's an easy way of living. I mean, all we have to do out here is heal. You know, we do have the canyons, we do have the Indian writings, we can take them out into more of a spiritual area for them. We have the equinox, we have a rock, and twice a year, you know, it's a big thing for them to come out and see the equinox.
What do you mean the Indian writings?
Oh yeah, we have Indian writings in our canyons out here.
What's that mean?
Well, the Indians were here and they left their artwork on the
What
walls.
they call petroglyphs?
Yeah, petroglyphs.
Oh, wow. So was it like an Indian sacred healing spot?
It's kind of amazing, though, how the Lord, too, has had his hand in all this. It's Ben found out she could build the place. And I got to tell something about John, her husband, too, but I could see in Bev, I found out more about her. I know she's quite a pusher and everything, and the things has worked in her favor all through this, because when you go over to the building to look, it's a quite bigger project than I thought it was going to be when it started. But everything just clicked just like that. I knew she was going to have it ready and done but today, but I don't know what happened in the deal. I guess I lost a little of my faith. But what happened, everything just clicked so, and her husband can see how the Lord is working with her through all of this. So here she goes, runs off and buys these whirlpool tubs and stuff, and they're supposed to deliver them. And she was on pins and needles, and they wasn't going to deliver them until the day after, well, tomorrow, I think. And
So we'll just have to stay longer, that's fine.
Bill says, no, we got to have them, so they thought they had to go after them. Their old poor Johnny's working out on the ranch and things to do, and thought, now I'm going to have to go get to whirlpool tubs and saunas and stuff. Yeah. So the next morning, and then they called that night and said, well, things come up. We're going to go ahead and deliver them tomorrow. And John fell through the floor to think and got on to Bev out there, because it just seemed like the Lord's with you, everything you go to do. He says, just like this, now I don't have to go after them, I'm going to deliver them. And that's the way every step has been since she started to decide to build this place.
It's a very blessed place.
And
it's very blessed.
How important are the whirlpools?
Like I thought it was sure going to be painted and ready to go.
How important are they anyway?
The radon baths?
Yeah.
The radon baths are going to be excellently important, because they're going to neutralize and help get rid of that yeast that's in their system.
As opposed to just drinking the hormesis water. How important is it to soak in it?
Well, your skin is your largest organ, so it will absorb more of the radon in your system.
Well, now, I have 600,000 households in Manhattan who are watching, or they have the potential to, and some of them record it if they can't watch it when it comes live. And I've been putting a little water rock into my super hot bath water, and then covering it up with plastic bags to be like a swimming pool cover, and then coming back 3 hours later when the water's cooled down and that it's been charged. Is that just my imagination that it's making me feel better?
No, I'm sure it's not your imagination.
Can you tell me what that water rock is and what's happening with 3 hours worth of charging up in a Manhattan simple little bathtub?
Do you know, I'm not an expert on that. Jay is the expert on the rocks, and so Jay would be able to give you that answer.
But what are you doing with your whirlpool baths? And can a regular New Yorker or city person who can't make it out here do something similar?
Well, they could do exactly what you're doing, is put their water rock in your bathtub and wait that long. Another thing, too, in Italy they use soda, baking soda, to help kill the fungus.
I think it's Tucilio Simonisi, he's the doctor.
And what we're going to do is one of our whirlpools will have the hormesis in it. The other will have soda and hormesis. So they'll be soaking 20 minutes in the one tub and 20 minutes in the second tub to get the soda in their system.
And how long do you have people stay in?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. After 20 minutes, your cells become saturated.
I see.
And you need to get them where they can absorb more.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. And then also we'll have a sauna. We'll have an infrared sauna for them to get in, and also a steam sauna. Both for them to get into.
And we were talking about whether they're doing this in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that they do in Germany is ozone.
Mm-hmm.
In Germany, they instead of when they have a diabetic and they have gangrene in the leg, they don't have to amputate the way they do in this country. They just do some intravenous ozone, and it brings circulation because ozone is oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
It oxygenates the leg, and blood circulation goes through, and there's no gangrene. So we do a lot of ozone at my spa in New York. Are you going to do anything with ozone? It would be great for you to do
What other
that.
services are you going to have besides the baths? And you have mentioned a few. Maybe I missed. Maybe you told
No,
about
I
the
hadn't.
colonics
I
and
hadn't.
things.
Well,
We were in process.
We were in process.
Well, maybe in a sense that's also the difference. It's wonderful that now there are ways that you can do something for yourself wherever you live, whether that's in New York, in the city, in the midst of everything else. But then to really heal, sometimes from what I gather, it's important to get away from all that, and then to have someone help you in a well-rounded approach that includes a whole number of modalities and ways to get you back to full health. And I think that's what you're attempting to do.
Right.
Would you elaborate on that?
Yes, I am looking at the whole person. So what we're going to do is, cancer is so toxic that we're going to do a very extensive detox system using essential oils and colonics, the foot bath, the reflexology, the massage, all of that together, on different days. And rest, a lot of rest, because how many people are so harried in life that they can't rest? I mean, a body needs more than 4 hours sleep a night. It needs at least 8 hours to really rejuvenate itself.
And what about the diet as well?
Yes, and the diet we're going to
Mineral
take.
Palace.
At the Mineral Palace, we'll have a cook. This is our cook, Teresa,
Teresa?
and she will be cooking very well balanced alkali. So we're going from an acid to an alkali diet to make sure that they can alkali. We'll also have classes. We'll have education classes on alkali. How to take your body from an acid environment to an alkali environment, and to teach those. And that's for the 10 days. And put them back on it.
I want to tell you just a little about our experience with our foot baths. We also do that at La Casa. When I first ordered the equipment, I was kind of delaying and unpacking it and figuring it out because it's electronic and I'm not good at that. And this woman kept calling me, okay, do you have it yet? Yeah, I have it, but I haven't unpacked it. Okay, a week later, okay, have you unpacked it? Well, I'm looking at the box. Okay, it's out of the box. Okay, it's plugged in. So for weeks, and so finally I said to her, I've never had anybody hound me about a treatment the way you've been hounding me. Why do you want this treatment? So she said she had gone to London, and when she had walked in, she was hobbling, and she had this foot treatment, this detox foot bath, and when she left, she had to catch a bus. She had to run to it in order to catch it. She ran. So she went, with one treatment, she went from hobbling to running. So I did figure out how to use it pronto. And we have tremendous success with it. One of my colleagues is using it with a little girl who has cancer. And she's done no other treatment except every 48 hours the foot bath. And the cancer diagnosis is gone. No sign of cancer anymore.
I have several clients that have gout, which is an overabundance of uric acid in your system. And they can come in and soak their feet and leave with the same thing, without the pain. I mean, they've come in and they've had the uric acid crystals and they can stick those in there and make it feel so much better. So yeah, there's a lot to this thing, and like I said, my husband was snake bit, and we took the venom out of his foot with the snake, with the foot bath, along with the other.
What I understood the program is like the radon baths and then the detoxification process. That might be the reason people would want to come here. Is that right? That's what you were explaining. If you can talk about that.
Well, the radon baths is what's bringing people here, because Jay has got such a wonderful, wonderful healing. I mean, they are healing. And they will be here, and then to also detox, you know, because we don't detox our systems at all. So they will be here for the radon, here for the detox, here to readjust and re-educate themselves on their diet. And then, you know, and the reason I chose 10 days is because it takes 10 days to retrain your body, you know.
Would that be interesting to hear her schedule for the 10 days? Or
Yeah.
you were
But just a
telling
second, I'm
us
going to have to
the
change.
3 days and 4th day?